Quality Rob Reiner films are back on the menu, boys. Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam. Welcome back to the Reiner Project, where we are going through the film career of the late, great Rob Reiner. And Russell, North was brutal, but we survived, and now we are back. We're talking about another good one. So, momentary setback, but we're back to quality again.
Yeah, I mean, regularly paid programming, I guess this is. But yeah, he's back in the swing of things. Yeah, looking forward to tackling this one. Good old American president.
Yeah. Well, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening on audio, 5 stars and follow there. That'd be greatly appreciated. But with that out of the way, let's get into the American president.
When you can stand in a room with me and not think of me as the president.
This was released in 1995. It was written by Aaron Sorkin, who, I mean, we all know who he is, would create The West Wing. We'll talk about that in a second. But also go on to direct Molly's Game, write the screenplay for Social Network, and just, you've seen Aaron Sorkin. You may not know, like, up front. But the movie starred Michael Douglas, Annette Bening, Martin Sheen, Samantha Mathis, John Mahoney, Michael J. Fox, and more. And it tells the story of President Andrew Shepard, played by Michael Douglas, who is, like the title says, the American president. He has lost his wife to cancer. He is preparing for re-election, and he's got a lot of irons in the fire. So when he meets Sydney Ellen Wade, played by Annette Bening, she is a lobbyist for the environmental lobby. The two find an instant chemistry, and the two fall in love, much to the chagrin of the president's approval rating. So this is one that I was looking forward to getting to, because I've heard nothing but amazing things about the American president, and it was well warranted, Russell, because this movie was really good.
You never saw it up until this one, really?
No.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Random fun fact: Chance and I did this for, I believe, right after the election in 2020. We did the American president, so that's like an old episode. I just thought it was kind of funny, but I saw that numerous times, and like it's a really feel good film. Like, you really get to see more of the day to day and just what the president goes through on a daily basis, where I don't think you really see that in a lot of films. You know what I mean? You see, like, Independence Day. Yeah, you have the famous rah 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 president's speech and stuff like that, but you don't see the other stuff. You know what I mean? And it's really great to see this and actually show his character, like, actually moving on in life and trying to find another, a partner, so there's, and then the reactions of everybody because of his love life too. It's really crazy, but yeah, but he does a great job of this one though.
I found it interesting, this dynamic with the president, like, having lost his wife, because in reality, at least in my lifetime, like, I've had presidents, Bush, W. Bush, President Obama, President Trump, President Biden, and now President Trump again. So the first ladies for their respective, like, pretty much baked into the cake, like Laura Bush, Michelle Obama, Melania Trump, Jill Biden, and Melania Trump again.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting, like, God forbid that something should happen in real life, but it's an interesting thing to consider. Like, what if the president, like, lost his wife in an accident or due to a sickness? Like, would he consider remarrying, or would he just forge on without her? It's an interesting thing, and I feel like the movie's way more interesting where it doesn't really consider that. It's more like a case of, oh, the president's wife is dead from cancer. Like, they don't dwell on it. They just say, this is how it is. And it plays into it a little with the romance angle of it all, but it's not like the main thing. It's just a thing that's established very early on.
But definitely plants the seed in that question of what would you do in that situation as president? You know what I mean? Obviously, with you and your lineage of the presidents that you said under your lifetime. Me, I'm just a little bit before. So I was born with Reagan. So you had Nancy Reagan. I was born with Bush's dad, and then Clinton. and then W on to where you were at. But yeah, like there's always, a first lady. What happens when there is no first lady? Like we've never had that like experience in our lifetimes. You know what I mean? And on top of it, it's like it's crazy the backlash you get because of it though too. Like moving on from your partner who has succumbed to something out of control, obviously, you know what I mean, and like being attacked for like trying to date again and trying to find another partner. It's really crazy. But yeah, like you said, this isn't obviously the forefront of the film. It's just a little avenue and a big highway in the film.
It's a very brief thing, but there's
Yeah.
a scene near the bitter end of the film where Andrew and AJ are playing pool, and they have a big blowout because, like, we'll touch on it. Like, he's
Yeah.
hit rock bottom, and he's like, well, what? How does it feel to be in the cheap seats? Like, why have you always been one step behind me? And it's like, because without me, you'd be the most popular history professor at the University of Wisconsin. Like,
Yeah.
wow, Sorkin, you didn't have to go
Yeah.
that hard. But
Yeah.
we'll touch on Sorkin in a minute. Point is, Andrew goes to storm out. He's got his jacket. He's in a huff, and he's like, if my wife hadn't died 3 years ago, would we be standing here right now? And it's a legitimate, interesting question because
Yeah.
tragedy tends to, lionize and galvanize certain aspects of you.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Ronald Reagan, when he died of Alzheimer's, and he openly admitted that.
Yeah.
And there was like some parts of it was like, well, he had Alzheimer's, like how did that play in? So it's like these little things to where is like, did the American people feel sorry for him? And so it's like, okay, let's see what he's got, or did they elect him based on his character?
Yeah.
The movie doesn't really answer that question, but it really makes you think. And that's why I like Sorkin so much. It doesn't give you a clear answer, but it gives you something to turn over in your head.
Oh, yeah, it lets you kind of build that up yourself. Okay, well, was he elected president because people felt sorry for him and they're like, okay, we're going to elect the widow, you know what I mean? And just take a chance on him. Or do they say like this guy really had a lot of character when his wife died, like he handled himself well, and this is why we elected him because somebody close to him like died, and this is how he handled the situation. Did he handle the situation with like, reverence, and was he like, did he really like, you know what I mean? Did he really handle himself well? And if he did, that's why we elected him. And it lets you pick which way you think, you know what I mean? And he has a lot of, character questions with himself in this whole entire film too. Is he doing the right thing? There's a lot of conflict of, where he has to decide right from wrong or moral, his moral compass too. And it's just, there's a lot of thinking in the film. And, Sorkin does such a great job of that and building that conversation and dialogue in anything that he really touches,
If people feel sorry because FDR had polio, and not a ton of people knew that he had polio, and he hid it about as well as you could expect for the early 30s.
Well, yeah.
But knowing what we know now, would he have still gotten elected? It really makes you think.
Well, yeah, for sure. And a lot of that stuff was done along on the radio too. So like you don't really see, you don't see the, somebody deteriorating or having a handicap or whatever, you know what I mean? So you're taking things based on what you hear, like the person himself, you know what I mean? Not so much like what he is or like how he, how he comes across or how he appears physically to you, you know what I mean? So it was a little bit different too. But yeah, obviously, whenever you think of presidents and stuff like that with disabilities, you always think, FDR, polio, but elected 3 terms, so obviously
4.
was doing, or 4, sorry, obviously did
4.
something right.
He died about partway through number 4, but he was elected 4 times.
Yeah.
So,
Crazy.
But it's interesting because when Susan Wade gets introduced, it's like the whole thing of was like, oh, well, that's nice. The president's getting out there. It's like, no, like as soon as they get together, it's like the slow trickle down of his approval rating. And when I first heard it, like reading the synopsis, I'm like, why? But then the more I think about it, it's like, okay, the American people, they're behind you for the widow thing is like you're kind of sleeping with someone. So it makes sense in the story, weirdly enough.
It does, but it also hits that intersection where it's like at that point, it's like, well, why can't he do that? You know what I mean? He obviously lost his wife. He has no ties. He's not committing a crime. You know what I mean? And on top of it, he's taking care of his daughter the best he can. The daughter's older, you know what I mean? Obviously old enough to, approve or disapprove of it. She encourages him obviously to do it, but obviously, not everybody else knows that. But still, it's one of those things where it's like, that's kind of dumb that the approval rating goes down just because of that. But I don't know, is it that, or is it the fact that people are worried because it's something introduced that's new and they don't know how to react, so they just kind of pull back, you know what I mean?
Doing a little bit of research, it was actually Robert Redford, of all people, who wanted to do this movie, and he approached screenwriters with just one line as a premise: the president elopes, and that's how he approached him.
Yeah.
Then Aaron Sorkin, just based on that, like, Redford gave him the green light. And Emma Thompson was originally supposed to be Sydney Wade. I called her Sharon Wade. Sydney Wade. And Emma Thompson didn't end up happening. Instead, it was Annette Bening, which is all for the better, because Douglas and Bening are just great together.
Thompson would have been good though too. I think Thompson has. I mean, not taken away from Annette Bening. Annette Bening's a great actress, but Emma Thompson's great in her right too. So I mean, I think either way it would have been really good. But I think, like you said, and it's factual. Just the on-screen chemistry that Douglas and Bening have. I think it really helps make the movie, and you buy it, you're bought into it. So yeah, for sure.
And as I mentioned, this was written by Aaron Sorkin. Fun fact, it took him 3 years to write the script. Why? And he would later tell TV Guide that he was high on crack cocaine and living at the Four Seasons Hotel in Los Angeles. So, I mean,
there's that.
Clearly something worked. Like, this movie's great mostly because of his dialogue, but it's just interesting that this, and then like Sorkin would later go on to create The West Wing 4 years after this. And again, a bit of research, there was someone named William Reichert who would end up suing the Writers Guild of America because he originally had the idea for The West Wing, he claims, and then, or not The West Wing, but for The President Elopes, and there was like something to do with Reichert claiming that the TV show was pretty much taken from The West Wing. It's a bit of a mess. I can't find anything what happened there. I would imagine it got settled. But I find it interesting that Martin Sheen is the vice president in this movie, and he's the president in The West Wing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe in my head canon is like AJ ends up running for president and ends up getting it, and this is a weird continuation of the American president.
Yeah, but if anything, I mean, obviously Sorkin felt comfortable enough, obviously, to see what he did the American president, you know what I mean, to give him his own show, give him his own platform as president. Obviously, we already saw with Michael Douglas, I don't think it would have really worked out as a television show. Douglas was so big in the mid-'90s anyway, I don't think he would have done that anyway. Martin Sheen was older at the time, so he was stepping away more so from Hollywood and acting. You know what I mean? Obviously he'd appear in stuff, but not as much as Michael Douglas was in everything in the 90s. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think it worked a little bit better, obviously, with Martin Sheen. And Sorkin. Obviously that show went on for multiple years. How many years was that? Like 6 years, 5-6 years, or was it more?
From 99 to 06. So
okay, so 7. Okay, yeah. So it was very successful.
Yeah, that show's been sitting in my Max watch list forever. I really need to get on that.
I've never seen it either, so don't feel bad. My wife and I, are finishing Big Bang Theory. Completely random, I know. We're in the last season of that.
Okay, that was 12. That's an investment right there.
That's an investment. We are like, I think 10 episodes away from finishing it, and then I think we're gonna go Young Sheldon. But we've also old school. We've been watching Newhart. It's just something we started watching. It's fantastic. It's on YouTube, all the episodes. So we're on the first season of the Newhart show. It's great.
Well, one thing before I forget, Michael J. Fox is just awesome in this.
Oh.
I think people know Michael J. Fox for like two things: his unfortunate battle with Parkinson's and
Back to the
Back to the
Future.
Future,
Yeah.
and like no in between. But this dude was big in the 80s.
Oh,
And
Teen
he
Wolf. Hell yeah.
Teen Wolf, yes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Like The Frighteners, which I'm covering for the 96 project eventually.
Peter Jackson. That's great. That's a great 90s film, man.
Just, he was everywhere. And I mean,
Yeah.
again, he's had health problems. He's put on a very brave face about it. Like, he's still writing books. He's still very active. God bless him.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to think like what he would be doing if he was like, and of course, Parkinson's, it is what it is. We can only speculate. But just here, he has a scene where he like talks about how important the American people are, like just to him, to Michael Douglas. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, this is Marty McFly. Like,
Oh yeah,
it's just incredible.
Even when he's trying to get the vote for the arms vote or whatever they're trying to get, and they have that scene where he just like breaks down and he starts going back and forth on the phone with the person he's trying to get to jump over on their side to approve, to lend support, and how mad he is and disappointed. You know what I mean? Like, you can just tell the guy can act. It is a shame that obviously his Parkinson's like really just kind of threw his whole entire acting career for a whirlwind there in the late 90s, when he was diagnosed.
And then, of course, like, we got to talk about Martin Sheen because he's great. Like, he's not in the movie as much as you might expect, but he's just there. And like the whole thing with calling Andrew Mr. President all the time, like even though he's like, "You were the best man at my wedding, for God's sake." Like when we're outside, and he just doesn't do it. It's weird, but it's like it's just an interesting thing.
No, it just he just has that that position with such high regards and respect that he never shies away from calling him Mr. President. It's kind of neat to see that. But yeah, no, his his back and forth with Douglas in the film I think is really great. The friendship, the honesty, the brute honesty that he has with him when they're talking. They're obviously in that pool scene near the end of the film is what you're talking about. The honesty that Sheen's character has to kind of let him know, hey, I carried you along too. You know what I mean? I know a thing or two as well. So, but yeah, he's great in the film.
Well, to kind of round things off, I one thing I did also want to mention, the ending scene where it's like it's all coming to a head, and Andrew just bursts in. And he just basically just gives the press corps the business with his serious people monologue, which is why serious problems need serious people.
Yeah,
because throughout the whole movie, like this senator played by Richard Dreyfuss, which shout out to him, he did a great job in this too, and like just kind of candy ass senator from Kansas, but I digress. Like he's just stirring the pot, and then he just puts him away for good. I'm just sitting there like, yeah, this is the good stuff. And then, like, there's a whole thing of, I can imagine, like, the presidency is way more complicated than this makes it look.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that it is, but it's like, this is just an incredible speech.
Oh, yeah. And I like the way they also ended, too, with him going through the tunnel and them announcing him as, like, the speaker announces him getting ready to do the State of the Union address. I think that's kind of cool, too. Just to kind of wrap, put that nice little bow tie on the film, wrap it up.
Yes. But to period at the end of the sentence, it's safe to say that North was just a momentary diversion, and just Reiner just needed to get back on the horse, and he did so. This is getting an amazing grade. It's smart. It's funny. It's got a great romance. It's dramatic when it needs to be. It can be funny in places, and you just don't question it. This is a great late-era Rob Reiner film right here. And just 2 decades deep into his career at this point, he was still creating just bangers like this. There really was none like him.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a fantastic film. Obviously, like I said before, we covered this all like 5-6 years ago. So, you can hear our thoughts on that. I'm sure I probably said the same thing. We're gushing about it then too. But no, it is a great film. It just shows Reiner's ability to, direct, and Sorkin just an amazing writer. This movie has heart. It goes through the funny stuff, it goes through the serious stuff. It knows what it's doing. You follow along and you don't really question things. It's a pretty tight hour and 50-minute film. I mean, it's just a really great one.
Okay, well, I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of The American President? Let us know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. And Russell, it's a privilege to do this with you every week. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, Notorious by Chance is the Facebook group. Chance and I just shot Thor, The Dark World, so that should be coming out within the next couple days. And then on tap, we have Captain America, Winter Soldier. So obviously we have a really good one on deck. But yeah, you guys can find us there, and Notorious by Chance on YouTube as well.
Yep, all the links down below. Subscribe to them over there. Next week, we'll return to the horror movie Iceberg. We'll talk about the penultimate VHS film, VHS Beyond. We have this and VHS Halloween, and we are all done. I'm sure Russell's very happy.
I mean, listen, it has been a journey, man. It has absolutely been a journey. I was laughing because I was thinking about this. I'm like, man, we've been on the VHS series for like almost a quarter of a year. Like by the time this is all, I mean, there's just so many of them,
Yeah, well, I've been off, I've been doing things, so that has something to do with it.
Yeah, but still, I mean, we've been really just we've been on them for a while. Regardless, we still would have been on them for a while, so it's all good. It's all good.
But as far as Reiner Project business goes, in 2 weeks' time, we will return to another one that I've never seen. All that I do know is that it came out in '96, and it came out the same weekend as Beavis and Butthead Do America, and you'll never guess what Siskel and Ebert preferred. Beavis and Butthead over this one. It's Ghosts of Mississippi.
Oh man, you know what? I've never seen this one. I was busy in the theaters seeing Beavis and Butthead Do America, so this will be really fun though. Yeah.
This sucks. It really sucks. For Russell, my name is Ryan Gam. We'll see you all in the next one. Y'all take care.